So we want to get back to Councilmember Reagan Dunn for King County this morning as we talk about, the county has rules for people who run business out of their homes. And it sounds like the council member has ideas to perhaps change that. So joining us this morning, council member, so good to have you. Thanks for joining us. Hi.
Good morning, Liz. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I have to admit, my husband works from home and he loves it. I know a lot of people are working from home because of the pandemic. But a lot of us don't really know the rules for business owners who work from home. I mean, what kind of regulations are we talking about here in the first place?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that there are significant regulations that control what you can and can't do in your home. You might agree or disagree with some of them. And what we want to do is take a look at what we call our home occupation ordinance to really thoughtfully adjust what we can and cannot do from our homes in light of the pandemic change. And you know the largest shift in working environment since industrialization has occurred over the last 2 years with the pandemic, more and more people working from home.
Now, as we talk about this, so like I said, you mentioned that too. So many people are working from home due to the pandemic. Is this just for business owners? Because a lot of us are not business owners, but a lot of us do have to work from home. What's the difference here?
Yeah, anybody who rents or owns a home has to be subject to the home occupation ordinance. And that could be simply being an employee of a company that is located in a different part of the United States. You still have to be subject to the home occupation ordinance. And that involves things like where you can park, the number of vehicles that can be parked, whether somebody can come and visit that particular business. For example, if you cut hair and you have one client at a time, home occupation ordinance speaks to that. It doesn't currently contemplate what happens when, for example, two parents, for example, who live in a home, each have their own home occupation. It really doesn't think about or contemplate two working professionals from home. And we know that 1/3 of Americans and people in the greater Seattle area are now working from home. 7 out of 10 people who are applying for new jobs say that working from home is important. So we haven't really thought about this in the context of the pandemic, and that's what I want to change.
Okay, so when you say that, I mean, what do you want to see change? What would be the ideal situation here?
Well, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, right? So sometimes you want to expand what people can do from home just a little bit. So for example, we can have two individuals who are adults working from home, and that is legal, and it should be legal, of course, provided they're not doing things like operating a junkyard or an auto mechanic shop with loud tools. That needs to be legal. There are some things, however, that shouldn't be legal. And one of the things we've seen in the pandemic is that, for example, bakeries. I met with one the other day. There's a whole bunch of unlicensed food producing facilities now that are happening in people's homes. They don't have insurance. They don't have licenses. They're not maybe preparing or keeping the food at the right temperatures. And that also needs to be looked at. So we need to open this back up and review it in light of the new pandemic lifestyle.
I guess that's a lot of stuff that I didn't really realize was going on. I mean, during the pandemic, you're just like, oh, people work from home. So what happens next with this? Because a lot of it does feel a little bit like legalese, fine print, but this could really impact people here.
Yeah, I mean, it's their livelihood and it's what they do with their own homes. And, I believe our property is ours from the center of the planet to the outer reaches of the universe, but that's not really true the way the government looks at it. They have some regulations. So let's look at that. Let's open that up and let's make it more flexible for people working from home in this pandemic time, but still protect our environment, make sure neighborhoods don't become congested business zones. They still need to keep their neighborhood feel. There's a lot of room for changes and improvements, and now is the time to do it.
And how can people find out more about this? Like, what happens next? When is the next meeting where you guys are talking about this?
Sure. So we're going to send this over, be passed, I hope, out of council today, unanimously sent over to the executive. We'll put a working group together to find out. But if you want more information on it, go to kingcounty.gov. and search home occupations, and you learn all the rules that are currently in place to see if you fit in now. And if you don't fit in, send me an email and suggest how we can make it better. And that's really why I'm looking for input in this process.
Okay, super helpful. And we will be tracking that as well here at Fox 13. Councilmember, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Liz, for having me.
Absolutely.